Hi, this is Tom. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to go through a workflow that I've been working through with Claude Code. So the purpose of the workflow is to create a notebook in NotebookLM. So what I'll do is I'm going to give it a file that looks like this that has the specifications for the notebook, and it'll create the notebook along with 3 videos, because it's specified here, 3 videos. And I'll go through this in just a moment. First thing I want to do is to authenticate. So this will authenticate me. This takes about a minute. So this is the only thing I need to do myself. And I'm not positive about this, but I think it's only once that I need to do this, like in a session. And what this is doing, this is logging me into NotebookLM. And this authentication will last for a limited amount of time, maybe 20 minutes. I'm not exactly sure how long it lasts, but eventually you have to re-authenticate. And I think, although I haven't tested this, so this time you can see it's pulling up a browser, it's loading my notebooks. So this I have to do. Claude Code cannot do this. Now I think, but I'm not positive, that the next time, say this like lapses after 20, 30 minutes or however long it takes, I think Claude Code might be able to do this now that it's already been done. But again, I haven't tested that. But anyway, this is the first test. The first thing to do. I'm authenticated. Okay, and you can see it took about a minute. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the task file, this one, this girdle and completeness theorem, and I'm going to move it to tasks right here. And now Claude Code will pick up this task, and it should create a notebook and videos in the notebook. Right, so I'm going to tell it to execute tasks. All right. So now it should find the task in the folder. Okay, so here it's checking the tasks folder and verifying the authentication that I just did. And it's finding the timestamp. Okay, it saw that the authentication is good. Now it's reading the task file. And so here it knows it's about growth and completeness theorem. And it sees that there's 3 videos to do. Here it knows that research is necessary. I don't have any knowledge base for it to use. And then it's creating, it's doing the work that's necessary. So it's creating the notebook. It's starting the research. So it's going to be doing research on girdles and completeness theorem. And this is actually using NotebookLM's Discover Sources. So it's prompting NotebookLM to do the research and waiting 35 seconds for it to complete the research and to populate the sources, and then it'll check and make sure that that's happened. So I found 10 sources. Okay, and it imported the sources. So they're in NotebookLM. It likes the sources. And now it's creating the 3 videos. So to create the 3 videos, it's giving NotebookLM instructions on how to do each of the videos. Okay, so it's got them batched, and it should be just about done. So it's recording the end time, writing the log entry, moving the task files. So once the task is done, it'll move it into the completed tasks folder. And it's writing the log file and moving the task. Okay, now since this was the first time that I did this in this session, it asked me if it was okay to write to the log file. If I did it again, it wouldn't ask me that. it would do everything from beginning to end without my having to do anything. All right, so I'm going to go to my notebooks, and let's see, what's the new one? The new one was on Gödel's incompleteness theorem. So I'm refreshing the page, and here it is. So I'll open it, and so Claude has finished its work, and now NotebookLM is generating the videos, and it'll do one after the other. There's 3 of them for it to do, and it takes it maybe about 8 minutes to do each video. So this will take it maybe 25 minutes, excuse me, to get them done. But we can take a look and see what it's done. So these are the sources that it found. And what is this? Air XIV. I don't know what this is. When I say I don't know what this is, I don't know what this icon is. Anyway, you can see there's Wikipedia here. I don't know what this one is either, but anyway, there's icons for the different places it found the sources. So it created the notebook. It did the research, or NotebookLM did the research and imported the sources, and then Claude Code read the sources and used the source material to prompt the video. So if you go to video, so if I click on this, and this is really cool, they just recently added this in NotebookLM. Used to be if you clicked on this thing, it would just create the video, and like you couldn't stop it in case you like accidentally clicked it. But now I can click on this, and it has this intermediate page, which is great. And there's 2 types of videos you can create. I've never tried this brief one. I should probably give it a try just to see what it looks like. I always use this explainer one. And then I've been using this retro print as the style. And then here in the this area here, you can tell NotebookLM what to focus on. And so Claude Code is reading the source material to figure out how to prompt NotebookLM on this, as well as I'm going to go to, and so what's great about this is I can close this now. It won't actually create a video for me. So, all right, so I'm going to go to the task file, take a look at that. So it moved it So that's why it closed it. So let me go to completed tasks right here. I'll reopen this and we'll take a quick look at this. So this task file is telling Claude what it needs to know in order to create the videos in NotebookLM. So it needs to know the topic, it needs to know how many videos there is, and then in this guidance, this is guidance for Claude Code. And then Claude Code uses this information and it will give guidance to NotebookLM through that focus thing that we looked at. And so I've been working through this and, just perfecting the workflow, adding things to it. And I'll plan to show more videos on how things have progressed. Right now, for example, all I have in the notebook are the sources and the videos, but you can add other things, to the notebook, like podcasts and slides, different things. And something I'm interested in creating would be summary documents that would be good to use for web apps. So that's all in the future. And the other things I can work on too is improve the sources. Because here I'm just having it discover sources, whatever it gets to do that. And that I found actually works very well if you're doing, like I'm doing Girdleton completeness theorem. So that's an old topic that it has, like, there's just tons of material on that. And it would have been trained in that, the AI. So it knows that really, really well. So this methodology should work really well for older things that have lots of material about them. But if I were doing something newer or more specialized, then I would want to curate the sources. So that's something I have planned to do in the future. So a couple of things I want to show real quick is two things. So one is, this is a quick overview of the workflow that I've been working on. So it's called Ephemeral Notebook Workflow because the idea is I'm creating the notebooks to throw away because I'm practicing with it. And so these aren't to keep, these notebooks, these are just for testing. So create the notebooks, look at them, delete them, do new ones, and keep adding stuff. And so this is explaining how it works. So Claude Code, when I start a session, it looks to see what's the active workflow. So right now I only have one workflow, which is to create notebooks. But like I mentioned, creating a web app, that's something I've got in mind. So there's different things I want to use Claude Code for. And I wanted to know like what it's going to do and not get cross-contaminated by having instructions that don't pertain to the actual workflow. So the way that that's handled is I have a notebook here or a folder for this workflow, and Claude Code will look to see what's the active workflow and then find all the information for that workflow to do what it needs to do. And I won't go through each of these in detail, but basically at startup, it loads up everything that it'll need to do the workflow. And the main methodology that I'm using are skills. So skills are basically prompts, really, for Claude Code. So it's writing prompts for itself. You can think of it that way. And so these are all the skills that it's written for itself. It's really fun to work with because you're having it like basically, build itself. And then And the last thing that I just added right now before this video is a logging, a session log. And um, I'll show that. So the session log is, it might not let me get to that. It doesn't let me get to that unless I copy paste it in. Anyway, there's a session log where it will show what changes that it's made, so that the next session that I do, it can look at the session log and see just that, because I'm constantly updating the workflow that we're doing. And it writes a log for this one we can look at for what it just did, which is right here. And so this is the session or the notebook that it just created. And so here it said there were no hiccups. So I'm going to talk to it about this, because there was one hiccup, which was I had to not log in. I had to give it permission to write to the log file. And I'm wanting it to log that so that I know which workflows I have that are truly autonomous. Because the idea is like to have it do everything. And it's, you can see, it's mostly there. Like if I did another task, that would go from beginning to end, no problem. So that's a neat thing that it'll do that. And I only did one. I only did one notebook with 3 videos, but I haven't stress tested to see like what the max is, but I know it can do a lot. So I could keep NotebookLM busy for, again, I haven't stress tested it, but I know I can do several notebooks, each of the notebooks with a number of videos. That would be an interesting thing to check out, would be like how many hours of work can you give NotebookLM before it complains. Okay, so the second thing that I wanted to show real quick is what's necessary to set this up. So there's a third-party CLI, command line interface, that was created for this. I was real happy to find out about this because I've been waiting for, it seems like years, might be a couple of years. It's been a while for Google to release an API to do what we're doing. And Google does have an API, but it's only for enterprise. So you have to have like, buku bucks to run it. This is free. I'm running the free NotebookLM. This is free, the command line interface that it's using. So the only thing that I'm paying for is a $20 per month Claude Code. And what is really neat about this whole workflow is that I'm burning very few tokens with Claude Code. So I can do this all day and I'm not going to run into usage limits. So if you've used Claude Code, you know that that's a real issue. But this particular workflow is working really well because it's pushing the lion's share of the work to NotebookLM. And so that's all really neat. So these are instructions on what's needed to set up the environment so you could do the workflow that I showed. And you can see that it's pretty straightforward and pretty short. It's not really difficult to do. I think it would take maybe an hour. I say about, and depends what you already have set up before, because there's certain packages that you need to have before you put in the NotebookLM. But the whole thing should not take more than an hour. And it's quite easy to do. So if anyone is interested, let me know, and I'll make this public. Well, thanks for watching, and until next time.